Now, if you are using WooCommerce, you'll know that the dashboard for your products and your orders and so on is not exactly an amazing place. It gives you some basic functional information, but there's so many more things we could want to do. Today, we're going to be using Admin Columns Pro and the WooCommerce Edition to take a look at how we can make this a much more usable place. Now, this has been sponsored by Admin Columns Pro, but I'm not going to give you any opinions. I'm just going to demonstrate how these tools work, and hopefully you'll see that they really do help to improve your overall use of WooCommerce and makes you 10 times more productive. Okay, without further ado, let's go take a look at installing the plugin and take a look at how we go ahead and get started. Now, I've already installed Admin Columns Pro. All we need to do is go into our settings section, into our admin columns. And once we're inside there, we can hop over to the add-ons. And this will show us all the different add-ons. Now, you can see it's already saying we've got WooCommerce installed. And it's saying, well, we've got a WooCommerce add-on. You may want to enable this. So let's go ahead and enable that. And there we go, that's now been enabled. Before we leave this though, let's take a look at some of the other available options we can add in to Admin Columns Pro. As you can see, it integrates and works with advanced custom fields, which I've covered in many videos already. But BuddyPress, Event Calendar, Jet Engine, which we'll be covering in a future video, Ninja Forms, Pods, Toolset, Metabox, and Yoast SEO. So there's a ton of options in the add-ons if you have the Pro version of Admin Columns. Okay, so now we've gone ahead and done that. What can we do now? Well, if you want to find out more information, click on the more details, and this will take you through then to the WooCommerce section on this site and give you an overview of all of the things that you can do. I'm going to cover many of these in this video, but obviously there's going to be nuances that I may miss out on. So I would recommend checking that out, find out a lot more info. Okay, that being said, let's go and take a look at now how we get started. So if we go into our columns, inside here, you'll see we've got basically any of the different sections, the post types and custom post types listed inside our site. You can see currently this is showing landing pages, but we can go into lots of different areas. Focusing on WooCommerce for this example though, you can see we've got coupons, orders, product categories, products, and product variations. So let's go ahead and take a look at products. Let's start off there, which is the main area you're probably going to spend time in alongside the orders section. So as you're doing that, you can see this now opens up all the current columns we have as part of our normal column setup. Let's open it up so we can have the two and do a comparison. Let's go ahead and open up the All Products tab. So this is where we currently are. As you can see, our name, our image, the SKU code, stock, so on and forth. Well, you may not use things like SKU codes. You may have something completely different to identify things. Well, what we can do with Admin Columns Pro is we can enable and disable reorder alongside add a lot more things in. So for example, let's just say we don't use a SKU code. What we can do is we can go ahead and we can just delete this. So simply come in, click on remove, boom, it's now gone. We've now cleared up something we don't actually use. And the same goes for things like dates. If you're adding products in that are not time sensitive, date is basically irrelevant. Remove it. And you can do this with anything. If you don't manage stock, you might be digital products, for example, and you can remove that as well. We can also go in and we can reorder these. So we may say price is more important than stock, so let's just put stock underneath. Simple as that. We just reordered it. Everything is now changed over. You've also got these options then on the sort of right-hand side. As you can see, we can do things like we can edit, we can bulk edit, we can filter, we can do all kinds of things. Let's open this up and let's take a look at what we have inside here. You can see we can very quickly and easily change the name of any of these columns. We can go ahead, adjust the width. We can open up exporting options. So you may want to export a specific column inside your products, your orders, and so on. This is going to give you that functionality, and you can download that then. And that's really simple. And you can see you can go ahead and you can have little help pop-up tips anywhere on here. And what I love to see about any kind of help is A, it's useful. It actually gives you information about this particular feature. But B, you've also got Learn More, which will take you over so you can get a real deep dive into how to use that specific feature. And this is available on most of these extra fields. You can see sorting, inline editing, bulk editing, smart filtering, and so on. So as you've already seen, if we want to enable inline editing, for example, of the name, we can enable that option. Now we can very quickly edit that directly inside the listing. The same goes for bulk editing and smart filtering. We can enable those features. And you can see we can very quickly and easily go through any of these options. So you may say, well, you want to quick edit the pricing. You want to make that available. Well, let's just go ahead and do it. Let's just say we're going to do inline editing, bulk editing, smart filtering, and filtering. So you can see we can go ahead and we can set the label for what we want to sort of set the filter. Really simple. And the same goes then for categories, tags, and so on. So you can simply come in and tweak these to get exactly what tools and options you want for any of these columns inside your listing of your products. So let's go ahead, set up our inline editing on there. You can see allow new product categories. So if you want to very quickly add new categories based upon a product you've added, say yes, simple as that. Again, let's just enable that filtering. So we'll say we're happy with all of this now. We've basically set things up. We've got rid of things we don't want. We've added things in, new features and so on. Let's hit save on there. And let's just hop over now and refresh this. So this is what we started off with. And let's go ahead and refresh this. So now we've got the ability to do more things. You can see we've got some new options at the top. We've got extra filtering options, so we can filter things based upon minimum, maximum prices. So there's more options available inside the filtering. You can also save filters. So you could create a filter based upon a certain set of criteria that you want to recall very, very often. You can do that directly inside here. So let's just do something really, really simple. Let's just say we want to filter things by a category. So we're only interested in travel as our category. You can see we can hit filter, and that will show us now just those products. And we can do is we can simply come in and we can save this filter. We can give this a name, so we can just say travel filter. Make available to all users. So if you have multiple people accessing the admin and managing this part of things, you can make it available to them. For this example, we'll leave it so it's admins only, and we'll hit save. And now we've created our own custom filter. So you can simply drop this down, choose the filter you want. So let's just see. Let's just change this now over to casual, for example, and we'll hit filter. So now we've got a different filtered set. Let's come back to our saved filters, click on travel. Boom, there you go. We've now created a custom filter, as simple as that. Let's reset that filter now so we've cleared everything out. Now you'll notice that we've got a couple of other options here as well. We've got this little cog that allows us to edit the columns, and that'll literally just take us back into the page we just had open. Let's just jump back out of that. We've also got inline editing, which we can enable or disable. Okay, so now that we've enabled inline editing, how do we actually start editing things? There's nothing on screen. Well, all you need to do is simply mouse over any of the rows, any particular product, and you'll see this now opens up and shows us the quick edit option on that row for any of the fields that we can actually quick edit. Simple as that. So if we want to change the name of this one, we just click and you can see we can change the name. So we're just going to change the name on this to something like Daybag. Check it. Simple as that. You want to change the price? Well, let's go ahead and set that. I'm going to say this is now increased in price to 30. And you can change the regular price and you can change the sale price. You can also set new prices based upon various different factors. So you could say you just want to set a blanket new price, so it's a specific price, or you could say that you want to increase the price of this by a percentage or decrease it by a percentage or by a specific value. So for example, we'll say we want to increase this, and you can see that now changes to a percentage option, and we'll say 10%. You can see then whether you want to choose to have no rounding of the figures, to round up or round down. In this example, we'll say round up. And you can see that allows us then to set the values to it. And it gives you an example underneath. So instead of £145.85, it'll just round it up to 146 to keep things nice and simple and round numbers. Let's just check that. And you can see that now it has increased that to 28. And we can do this to any of them. You can see this has a sale price on it where we can click to edit that, and we can edit the sale price if we want to. So you can see we can also set the sale price based on the regular price. We can schedule this, and we can do it all directly inside the quick editing area. Or we can just edit this and say we want to set this, increase this by 10% again. We'll set that to round up. And we'll hop over to the sale price and we'll say set a new price based upon the regular price, and we can say we can decrease this by 20%. You know, you kind of get where I'm coming from with this, hopefully. And we'll say we'll round that up as well. And we'll click on there. Now you can see that's now set the price for us. So really quick and easy. When it comes to the categories in the quick editing, let's select that. You can see now we can choose from any of our categories from a simple drop down, or we can go ahead and add something new inside here. So we can add a new one in, and we could just say this is going to be, hit enter, and there's our new category. As simple as that. Check that off, and it's now been added into our categories. You want to undo it, you can simply hit the undo option. And all of these, once you've made changes to them, you can see anything that's had a change made to it now gets an undo option. So if you make some changes and you want to come back in and undo those changes inside the quick editing or the inline editing, boom, you can do it directly inside there. Already, this should open your eyes to some of the things you could do to speed up the whole process of not only just working with adding and editing, but also filtering to find what you want alongside a lot of other things. And that's just a really simple example of some of the things you can do. Now, on top of this, there's also some options on how you control access to various different features. So let's just jump back over into our settings section. Let's scroll down our page. We've already seen how we can configure various different features inside each of the individual columns. But if we come down, you can see we've also got a set of settings. Now, this is a really great way of being able to control exactly who has access to what is shown, what is hidden, and so on. So, for example, we can set a conditional role based upon the user roles that are part of WordPress. And you can also see it's got WooCommerce roles inside here. So by default, WooCommerce will create a customer and a shop manager. And you can create your own custom roles as well. And they will become accessible to you inside this settings panel. But let's keep this to the shop manager as an example. We can say any shop manager can have these things hidden on screen and preferences and so on. Or we can actually go in and choose a specific user. So you get a lot of granular control over exactly who you target and what they can access. And then you can say, what information do you want to hide on screen? And you can see we can hide the inline editing, bulk editing, filters, those kinds of things for a shop manager or for another role. So for now, let's just clear up the shop manager. So we don't want to worry about having any conditions on there and accessing, sort of various different features and hiding them and so on. You've also then got options for preferences. Do you want to enable horizontal scroll? And this is great if you end up with a lot more columns because you may be managing really complex products with a lot of really important information. This will allow you then to have that sideways scrolling, not just up and down. So you can choose to enable that, especially great if you have smaller screens, those kinds of things. You can then also come in and choose what your default sorting is going to be. And you can see we can set this up to be name, SKU, stock, price, categories, those kinds of things. And you can set whether it's ascending or descending. And you can also apply pre-applied filters. So if you create a set of custom filters like we just saw how easy it is to do, you can then specify that they are automatically applied. So there's a lot of really cool options inside here for the settings panel. Okay, so now we've seen how we can work with adding different content into our different columns and those kinds of things. What about adding new columns in? Can we do things like that? Absolutely you can. If we click on add column, you can see this now opens up the actions by default, but we can open this up and see a lot more. There are tons and tons and tons and tons of options inside here. So you can see the default ones, which are the standard ones as part of a product when it comes to WooCommerce. All those are listed here, some of which we've taken off, but they're still available if you want to put them back. You've also then got a lot of WooCommerce specific columns you could add in, like attributes, average order interval, average rating, back orders allowed, coupons, customers, cross-sells. There's tons of options inside here. Now, obviously, some of these are more useful on the sort of customer page or on the orders pages, and some on the sort of categories and things like that. So obviously, you have to pick and choose the right ones for a given sort of use case. But you can see there's tons of options on here. If you want to use weights, you can put that in there. Tax status, tax class, stock status. Sale price. So if you want to put your sale price in there, you could do that. Reviews, tons of options. So we'll leave that as it is for now, though. And we're going to take a look at how we can add some information into the orders section. So we've seen how to work with this. Let's just update it to make sure everything is now saved out. Now, next up is orders. Now, this is going to be probably one of the most important parts of your entire WooCommerce store alongside the products. And we can also do a lot more with this. Now, as default, you can see all this really gives us is the order, a quick preview kind of window, which is okay. And you've got the status and the total amount or has been paid. It doesn't really give you a lot. So let's go ahead and edit our columns to go back into admin columns. You can see orders is automatically pulled in because that's where we've actually sort of got this information from. We've clicked on that link to go over and edit it. And now you can see inside there's a lot of options: billing, ship to, total, actions, and so on. Again, you've got the settings underneath. Again, your preferences, your sorting, and your pre-applied filters. So all those options are available to you inside here if you want to use them. So let's just say, for example, we'll open up the order. All those same options, but we can choose to export, sorting, smart filtering. So this is great if you are working with products and orders and things and you want to output those orders to a CSV file or something like that. You can do it inside here. And you can choose which columns are going to be included, which you can export and so on. So for example, let's take a look at the status. You can see this now gives us the ability to do those inline editing options. So let's just enable that. And if we want to filter, we can do that as well. So now we've already created something that's a bit more useful because we can just change those without having to go in and edit anything inside the actual order itself. Let's take a look at that in action. Let's save this. Let's go back to our columns. Let's go back into our orders. Let's enable the inline editing. And now when we come over the status, you can see we get the option for the inline editing. We can select that, and now we can immediately change that over to pending payment, on hold, completed, any of the different statuses. Let's mark that as completed. Check it off. Job done. Already quicker to work with than having to go into either this little section to see what's going on in there, and then clicking on edit, and then editing it inside here, or going back and doing it the sort of normal way, which is to edit the order itself. Choose the order to edit, takes us in. It's several clicks to do something that can be a bit of a pain. So that already makes the whole process of just updating order details so much quicker. But there's still more we can do. You know, we can come in and we can add our own custom columns in. So we've got different options. Again, we can choose to have, you know, various different bits of information inside here, even custom fields if you want to create your own custom fields. But let's just say we're working with tax. So we can say we'll add tax in there. And now we can go ahead and say, do you want to allow this to be exported? We'll add another column in. Let's just say we want to put in things like the order notes. So we'll just click on that. Again, this now gives us a range of different options to display how this works. So we can choose count or last order note. So we'll say last order note for this example. And do you want to allow inline editing of the order notes? We'll say yes, we do. We'll hit update on there. We'll refresh our page, and you can see now this gives us more options again. We can now see our order. We've got the same options: the date, the status, the amount of money, the tax that's applied to it, and any order notes that are applicable. So you can see this just really opens up a ton of opportunities on how you can really get started streamlining your whole WooCommerce setup. And we can also come back in and start to enable some more of the filtering options. So for example, you can see we don't need to go in and actually start clicking on the various different options and enable them. We can do it directly inside here for the various different fields. So for example, we might say we want to apply filtering. Well, you just click on it. You just click on the filter options. We don't want the billing address. We don't want the ship to address. And we're not really bothered with the date in this example being in that position. So we'll drop that right at the end of the listings. And we'll update again. Refresh. And you can see now that updates accordingly. So we're already creating something more unique. And again, we can go ahead and we can apply our filters. So if we wanted to apply a specific filter, we might want to sort of say, we only want to look at January, for example. And we want orders with a minimum value of, say, 100 and a maximum value of 250. We can just filter that. And then we can save that filter. So again, we can come back in, save our filter, and we'll just say 100, 250, Jan 22. Again, we can make the option for saving to all users. We'll hit save on there, and now we've created our own custom unique filter. So now we're already seeing how we can really speed up the process of inline editing and filtering and exporting and those kinds of things. There's something else I want to show you that opens up even more opportunities. Now we know that we can very quickly and easily make changes to various different pieces of content using the sort of quick edit option as part of WordPress itself, but it's kind of limited. Well, let's just select all of these orders. Now you don't have to select all, you can select just random ones if you wanted to, but I've only got 2 orders on here. You'll see we get the option for bulk updates. So anywhere we've got the sort of inline editing option and those kinds of things, we can bulk edit those. So let's click on there. And you can see now we can bulk edit, just in this example, the status. And let's set all these to be on hold. We'll click update. It prompts us to make sure that we're happy with this. We'll click yes, update, and there you go. Done and deselect. So we don't have to worry about deselecting them. Now we've already just done a bulk update. So once you kind of tie in the bulk updating, the inline editing, the exporting, the filtering, the saved filters, all those kinds of things, you can see if you work inside WooCommerce on a regular basis, this is going to give you so many more options. And then when you tie into that the ability to simply go ahead and add in extra columns, filter those columns, bulk update those columns, inline edit those columns, and create something truly unique inside your dashboard for working with WooCommerce, hopefully what you can see is how this could 10x your productivity when it comes to orders, when it comes to products, those kinds of things. So the final thing I want to take a look at is working with users. You can see we can go ahead and we can do things inside here to start editing. We can see that we've got the basic information, user's name, email, role, those kinds of things. Well, a lot of this might not be relevant to you. So let's just say we don't care about things like the posts because this is a shop. So that's not important. Let's remove that. And you can see, just simple to remove. Add a new column in, change the type, and you can see we got options inside here for things like first order, last order, number of orders. So we can click on that and you can see the status. What status are they in? So we could say any status. So we'll just say how many orders someone's done. Do you want to export that data? Do you want to sort it? Smart filtering, those kinds of things. So now if we save on that, so now you can see that we've gone ahead and set up the number of orders. All we're going to do is just change the label of this. So we're going to say number of orders, and we'll just click to add that in. And now if we hop over and take a look at our user list, we've now got a new field inside there, or new column inside there called number of orders. And what makes this even cooler is the fact that the number of orders number is actually a link. We can click on it, and that will then take us over to the orders filtered by that specific user, all done just by adding that extra column in. So now you can see that you could customize this. And again, we've got all those options for filtering. So if you want to make any of these filterable, we can do just that. So you want to say, you want to filter on username. So open that up. Do you want to export that? Smart filtering. Do you want to allow inline editing? But you can see if we come into the name, for example, we can export, sort, inline editing, bulk editing, smart filtering. All those options are available to us. So we can really customize how useful the user list is when it comes to using it with WooCommerce. We get a ton more options to make this a much more useful place. Now, hopefully what this has demonstrated is how you could easily 10x your productivity when it comes to working with WooCommerce and Admin Columns Pro. You can set up customized views for your different user roles, all those kinds of things. And I've just literally scratched the surface of how you could customize your dashboard for yourself or for any users that you give access to. As always, all the applicable links will be in the description, and I'll link to the article about all the different features that WooCommerce has inside Admin Columns Pro, so you can check that out for yourself. For any comments, questions, or feedback, let me know in the comment section below. As always, my name is Paul C. This is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.